It says you are live. All right. I'll
Oh,
take your
Scott's
word
got
for it.
it.
Yeah.
Scott's got it. Yep.
Yeah.
So, so uh, for our viewers, I have the COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't sound
What's
like it,
funny?
huh? That's good.
Well,
That's good. Cough, cough.
yeah. As I cough.
Yeah.
No. Here's the thing. So you and I were supposed to hang out last Friday, right?
Yeah.
And you were going to, which you kind of blown me off a few times. Not, and it was fine. It's
Mm-hmm.
fine, but I don't all I know that you may not always go. Let me put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I went to bed and I was laying in bed and I had a kind of a tickle in the back of my throat that felt like sinus drainage.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, am I getting sick?
Yeah.
What's going on? And I didn't think a whole lot of it. And I'd had a I'm gonna call it a run in with a coworker. And what I mean is there's someone at my work that for whatever reason he does not like me, and his mission is to just be a thorn in my side.
Hmm.
But he doesn't have the power to do it really, and I've figured out how to handle him. But he just still keeps nipping at me about oh, your guys aren't doing this and you're not doing this. And just has nothing to do with work. It's just it literally it's a guy that is like, well, you're not filing stuff right on the server. And I've
Mm-hmm.
told him this is how we're going to file it. If you don't like it,
Yeah. You come
pound
up with
sand.
your naming convention, and that's the way you want it, and all that, huh?
Exactly. And I was told I could do whatever I wanted to do. Well, he's kind of coming along. Well, you're not doing it right because and I mean, you know me. I'll tell you. And unfortunately, he's figured this out. But the best way to handle people like that, I've found,
Mm-hmm.
is especially if it's like a gray area because we're not anywhere in the same hierarchy of management, and I outrank him, and so he doesn't really have any authority to tell me what to do. So he,
Mm-hmm.
like that, but he can just be a nuisance,
Yeah.
and so I've found the best thing to do is go. So he sends an email. Well, your guys aren't working. Well, you're not using the right template. Well, we had a system outage not long ago, and I had guys that were working at home on their personal copies of Illustrator, and so we cobbled together a thing. And he's complaining. Well, I've told him what he wants ain't going to work for me, so we're not going to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not good enough. It's just that kind. It's petty.
Yeah.
I I understand that if you get art that comes from a company, you want it to look right, or you want it to look the same no matter what department produced the art.
Right.
There's I understand that. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know there are certain things that our art needs to work for the customer. And it's I don't want to get into all the ins and outs, but it's basically he doesn't like how we put the dimensions on it and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, we have to do that so the customer knows what they're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then he complains about how we're not naming stuff right and all. It's just petty crap because it doesn't matter. None of it matters because it all works off of a system, a cloud system that finds it by keywords. So as
Mm-hmm.
long as the keywords are on there, it shouldn't matter. Well, anyway, I found with people like this, the best thing to do, and else you can steal this. Anybody watching can steal this idea. If you're dealing with a situation where somebody that really can't do anything to you other than just kind of tattle on you maybe and
Mm-hmm.
try and get you in trouble with your boss, the best thing to do is just say what I did. So he sent this email. I emailed him back and I go, "Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I got a lot on my plate right now, and I'll address it." And that was it, you know.
Yeah.
And I talked to my guys, and I pulled them into a meeting in the other room. And I said, "Look, everything I say stays in this room." And I said, basically, this guy's a dick, you know.
Yeah.
And and anyway, so I had this on my mind last Thursday. I don't know if did I talk about this on the podcast? Maybe I told you about it before the podcast. Anyway, so I had this, and I was kind of feeling a little off, had a little tick on my throat. I could not sleep last Thursday to save my life. I get up. I'm feeling pretty good. And I don't think a whole lot about it. And I went downtown. I stayed downtown for a long time. Went downtown, went to the library. But I was also in the back of my mind, I was like, I think I got a cold. I'm going
Hmm.
to avoid people. So I did. I didn't, I went to the library, but I did the self checkout. I did all the things that I could do to avoid, just directly interacting with too many people.
Hmm.
Didn't really, and you know how it is. You can go downtown and it could be, you don't have to talk to a soul necessarily if you go
Yeah.
downtown in Oklahoma
No,
City.
you can avoid everybody pretty much. Yeah.
No, and you had texted me and said or emailed me and said, hey, I think I'm gonna just skip, and I was kind of like, okay, that's good. I don't have to worry about giving Ellis
But
what I thought was a
did not have
cold.
a better excuse than that?
Nope,
I don't know.
nope,
Maybe
nope,
that's all I said.
nope. I think I'm gonna stick to my usual routine today.
That's
That's what
it.
you said. That
Okay,
is
yeah. But it was. See, yeah,
that's a,
I was at
hey,
least that
that's
articulate.
okay. Yes, it was that articulate. Well,
Maybe
here's the
not. Maybe
here's
not,
the
Scott.
hey
Go ahead.
hey, you know what? uh, uh, you don't have to explain things.
No,
This is
no.
what I've realized. This is and this goes back to dealing with this guy. I don't
Hmm.
have to explain to him what I'm doing. All I gotta do
Yeah.
is tell him, "Hey, thank you for bringing that to my attention," and
Hmm.
I'm doing other things. You know,
Sure.
too many
Sure.
people, and I'm always preaching to Michelle about this. Somebody will, oh, can you do this or that, and maybe she don't want to do it, or maybe she can't do it. Or she tries to explain. I'm like, look, don't explain yourself. Just tell people no. You know,
I,
and
I was
so you don't have to explain. If you tell me,
no.
well, I woke up and I think I'm just going to do what I normally do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
no big deal. Anyway, especially because so I didn't feel good. I mean, I felt fine. I mean, I
Hmm.
walked like
Yeah, you
many
sound fine.
miles.
You sound fine. I mean, when I've got a really good cold that's hammering me, I'm not in a good mood.
Oh, I felt great, but again, I have a little bit of drainage in the back of my
Sure.
throat. Didn't think a lot about it, but I tell you what I did do. I called David Nelson because we do a podcast on Fridays. I said, look, dude, just FYI, I've
Hmm.
got a tickle in my throat. I said, I don't know what it is. I don't know what you want to do. He goes, let's skip. And I go, okay.
Yeah, sure. That's smart.
So
Dave's like me.
that
He's smart.
he's smart, yeah. And so we did not do our podcast.
Hmm.
Well, the next day I went to the grocery store. I wore a mask and
Hmm.
again tried to avoid people.
Hmm.
Went to my cousin's. Now, for listeners, my cousin doesn't drive, and so Michelle and I go and get her groceries we run errands for her basically on Saturday. Depends on what she needs. Usually, there's something that she needs, and we'll swing it by her apartment. It's no big deal. Um, so we went down there, and I told Michelle, I go, I I what did I tell her? I said, I'm not feeling real well. Why don't I wait in the car while you go into Lori's? Because my
Hmm.
cousin's on oxygen. She's on oxygen, dude.
Yeah.
So Michelle said that's probably a good idea. So she goes in. We get home, and someone I know who I've been around, one of my employees, somebody at work who I'd been around a lot Thursday, texts me and goes, well, I failed a COVID test, and I'm not
Uh-oh.
feeling good. I go, crap. And so I told Michelle, and I said, okay, before we go to church, this is Saturday, I said, before we go to church tomorrow, oh, and I'd canceled my family was going to go out to eat on Friday. I emailed him, I said, I'm not feeling real good. Or I said, I kind of feel like I'm getting a cold. Maybe we better cancel. And somebody else said, yeah, I'm not feeling real good either. And I just seen them all last weekend because we had a get
Hmm.
together.
Right.
And so I didn't really feel like I had to, rush out to see them all.
Right.
And anyway, so I canceled that, and the so the so So then the guy calls, and so the next morning, the next morning we take a 94-year-old lady to church with. We give her a ride to church on Sundays. I told
Hmm.
Michelle, I go, I don't think I'm going to church. Before I go, I want to take a. And dude, I took a COVID test. Have you taken You haven't taken a COVID test at all, have
No,
you?
Mm-mm.
This is the only one I've ever taken. Well, one of two now, but the first one I'd ever taken. And you rub the swab in your nose, and then you put the thing in there, and then you put it's a home test. Put the dropper in the thing. It's got two lines, and like it'll have this one as a control, and then if this one shows up, you have COVID.
Aha.
Literally within 30 seconds, the second line showed up, and there was no doubt. It was black as if it had been printed out of ink on that thing.
Hmm.
I said, I think I got COVID, and Michelle
Trust
said, you
the
got to wait 15
science.
minutes. And I said, it's not going anywhere. I have COVID. And so we did PCR tests, which are the ones that you do at the place. We went by the place. I have COVID. Michelle does not.
Very
And
good.
so Michelle still has to stay home. I actually went back to work today, if you can believe that. I worked from home. So I emailed our safety people and my supervisors, and I said, look, I feel great. And they're like, well, that's good. So the guy that had it at the same time as me, which I've been told there's no way that we got it from each other because we got it at the exact same time. Now, we could have got it from the same person,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I have no idea who I got it
You
from.
got to figure out who Typhoid Mary is around there. Yeah.
Well, so the state sent me a text message and was like, hey, would you be willing to fill out this survey to help us find blah, blah, blah? And I went on there, and first off, it was a nuisance to get into.
Yeah.
And it was like, have you been any of the following places? And it was a list of places. And the only one I'd been to within the amount of time, it didn't have work, but had church. I've been to church.
Oh, they're
And so
trying to
then it
get
asked,
church
well,
legalized or
then
never
it
mind.
then it asked a bunch of questions about like where's your church at? How many people? And I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
And
don't do
so
it.
and I said like,
Some busybody will get a hold of the information and it won't be used properly.
and it, well, yeah. And so anyway, but on the thing it said if you don't fill it out, somebody from the health department may call you.
Okay.
And
God.
they can call me. I may or may not answer. I mean, it's not against the law to not give them my information.
Some of this presumption of stuff that they do to you, the when it's aimed against ordinary people, they can penalize the people they know they've got scared by via being legitimate taxpayers. Taxes is all you have to do to scare most people. Say there may be a penalty coming your way, and everybody just snaps in line. It's all they have to do for the most part.
Well,
That's probably what the biggest thing that they'll
yeah,
roll out for these truckers is they'll probably tell them, well, guess what? Every one of you guys is going to be paying for this. And that's bad
yeah,
news, because we're going to
maybe. I
tax
mean,
you to the roof.
the problem is truck drivers are not a group without any power.
No, yeah, no, they aren't.
Certain
They
groups in the
well,
society, if all the artists get mad and strike, what are they going to do? They're not. Who cares, right?
no,
But if
I'm
like
totally I'm totally with them,
they'll discover what school teachers have known forever.
but they do
All you
have
got
a
to do is say,
very
"Well, we don't do our
bullyish,
job," and
bully prone. That what do they call their union? What
oh
is their
yeah,
union? What is their union?
oh the Teamsters.
Yeah, the Teamsters. Yeah, that's the scariest union.
I was a Teamster when I worked at
Yeah,
UPS.
well,
I was a
that's the
Teamster, man.
thing that you don't want to be a scab. That's where the bowling ball comes through your cab
Yeah,
as you go under a
yeah.
underpass or overpass.
No, no, no. You gotta. Well, that I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, that's one of those jobs you're when you're in. I mean, I wasn't a truck driver. I worked at UPS unloading trucks, but we were Teamsters,
Yeah, well,
and
yeah,
these
and that's
guys in.
a valuable thing to be a member of a good union. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, didn't you tell me your dad was part of the
Oh,
union?
yeah. He was in the elevator constructing union, and that's why we had the privileged upper middle class life we had. Even though my mom kind of sabotaged that by living beyond her means.
Join the club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the
I,
most common
I'll
marriage.
say a
The
story
most
offline.
common.
I'll tell.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
The most common marriage sabotage is living
Well,
beyond.
this, and by the way, I'm not talking about myself. My wife is very good for the most part with money.
Well, yeah.
Um, but I know somebody. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
money
sure,
is.
sure. Almost
It's
everybody's got
amazing.
that's their
It.
fight. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a Michelle and I never fight about. But I mean, we're lucky. We got plenty of money. I mean, we're not
Hmm.
rich, but we're we do pretty good. But
Hmm.
it's funny. I know some people that if you gave them $50, they'd spend 55, and if you gave
Yeah.
them 25,
Exactly.
they'd spend 30. I
Right.
mean, and that's all it is like. I mean, all and you know this because I think you do this. You have to live within what you
Oh yeah,
make.
yeah, yeah. Nobody could live like me unless they put their mind to the idea. I will spend nothing. That I, basically, I've got to make that check last for the entire period until the next one rolls in, and that changes. That
Yeah.
it's dynamic. It
Well,
has it has to
and that's no different.
takes 5 weeks sometimes and 4 weeks the other time.
But I mean, in reality, that's no different than anyone else.
Yeah,
Everyone gets. I mean, if they work or don't. I mean, people always say, "Oh, yeah." So your retired people go, "Oh, I'm living on fixed income." Everybody lives on a
yeah,
fixed
that's right.
income.
Oh yeah.
I
No,
mean,
no,
if you
no,
think about it,
no. The only
very few people, unless you're, commission or something, very few people's check fluctuates a lot.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. It is situational.
But I mean, the thing
Yeah.
is most people that, and again, I'm speaking strictly as a guy that is, but I mean, Michelle and I could live way better than we do, certainly. But most people that get into trouble, it's because, I don't know, they just get obsessed with buying stuff. And some people just don't make enough money to live. I mean, that's
Yeah.
certainly true.
Oh
But
yeah. Yeah. There's a
it's
lot
an
of
easy.
I got a lot of awful jobs out there that are really hard to really even think about getting beyond them. You know,
Yeah.
you were talking about
Well,
awful
yeah.
people, and
And the sad thing,
yeah. Go ahead.
well, I was just saying, the sad thing is in our economy, with the inflation the way it is, and
Yeah.
everything, it just makes it so much harder on people.
Oh yeah. That gas
I
now
mean,
is
we're
three
better. I think
dollars.
we're better off
Everybody
as a.
uses gas, and it's right now it's over $3 now. Next
Yeah.
stop, I saw
Oh,
some
it's going to get
terror
worse.
headline that was going to be 7. Hey, I tell you what, if it goes to 7, someone is
Oh
going
yeah,
to
I
be
saw that too.
really hurting. And it might go to 7 in some
Oh,
markets. I mean,
they'll.
it might not do it here, but it might manage to hurt
Oh,
people in
will it California
other
and Hawaii?
places. Yeah,
Well, and the bad thing is that's not just if people go, well, I live in Seattle and I ride the bus or whatever, or New York, but it's like all the when the price of oil goes up like it has been, that
yeah,
goes to heating, fuel, and everything.
oh yeah,
So I mean,
everything,
it'll
everything.
get everybody,
Yeah, we
and
only talk
shipping. I
about
mean,
energy, and all that green energy stuff. Half of the reason, half of that rap on the green energy was the 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 left's way to slow America down. The idea that you
yeah,
must fall in line with green energy because
Yeah.
America has it under control when it comes to energy. And when you slow the energy down, I always think of the movie Patton. When, when those guys ran out of gas,
Yep.
that's it. That was it for driving your tank anymore.
Yep.
And, that's true of the world.
Yes.
You run out of gas, you've driven your tank as far as you're going to drive it. And at that point, you have to say, okay, who do I have to bow down to now because I need something that gives me energy again, you know? And that's what they want.
Yeah.
They want the control over all important things, and there's nothing much more important than energy. So they say, why aren't you using these things that don't cause greenhouse gases? What is wrong with you?
Yeah, but
You
they
want us all
do.
to die?
They just don't. They do. It just doesn't come out the tailpipe. You can't
Yeah,
get energy from nothing.
I
And
know it.
so
No,
the
no, that's true too.
alternative, in fact, it may be worse when you take into account heavy metals and some of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
the
Making
alternative
magnets
is
or not magnets, batteries. Making batteries. Yeah.
yeah, the alternative is we go back to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
So did you see my drawing? Did I? I don't think I
Oh yeah,
finished this
I saw
last
you
week.
post that. I think I put a like on it on
Oh,
Instagram.
oh, okay. I have had an offer on this. Not a someone has reached out to me and said
I want
I
that.
would like to buy that.
Cool. An original.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So my idea was with this when I found this sketchbook under my desk here. It's 150 pound 9 by 12 illustration paper, whatever that is. And so my idea was I do these drawings in it
Hmm.
of like kind of Bronze Age battles is what I'm going to call this. And there's only about a dozen pages left in this. But my idea was to fill it up, and I figured by the time I filled it up, I'd get some good practice in.
Hmm.
And then my idea was I'd dump them all on eBay. So let's see
Oh,
if they can
that's a great
see if I.
idea. Yeah, eBay. Yeah, you prompted me to think about eBay last week, and I haven't done anything about it. But yeah, I am kind of inspired to think about eBay again. I got a new commission on InWorld, so that'll come my way at
Oh
some
yeah,
point.
that's cool.
So it's always good to make money with a talent. Boy, I tell you what, I'm going to just quit on this thing. It's just, it's too
What
hard.
is that?
Whatever. It's a robot in a kind of like a control room setting, but it just went too wrong, too far south, and now I'm drawing into it, and it could
Oh
maybe
yeah.
turn into a painting eventually, but it's just not going to easily be pushed around into a decent painting. Oh, a guy could stick with it and have something out of it. I'm going to start over though. That's as far as that needs to be taken right at the moment. Do something
Oh,
new.
I need to hire somebody at my work, Ellis.
Okay,
I need to find somebody that we can train to make molds for us.
groovy.
I and it, yeah, I wish you were looking for a job.
Really?
The well, yeah, I think you'd be good
Well,
at it.
I had an
I think they're
enthusiasm for it at one time
they've even talked
on a
about how
hobbyist level. You know, I was a hobbyist silicone
well
mold maker. I
if
could
you
probably
ever
pick up
want
on it.
to pick it. Oh, I think you could. I'd love to have you. They've even talked about, normally my work shies away from full-time people or part-time people. They've even
Hmm.
talked about because we have so much hiring is impossible.
Yeah, I
And you would
understand.
think,
Yeah, that's part of why I was there at that stupid tire shop for so long. Is that basically they've only got like two good employees apparently. They can't. Well, and of course that may be
oh yeah,
bottom line stuff too. You know, they may only be able to
yeah,
afford two employees. I don't know. No, they seem to have plenty of business.
Well, you
Yeah, no,
bought
no.
tires
I'm
from
sorry
them,
I
so they
interrupted
can.
your train of thought. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that they were. I got an email from administration, and they were like, we're looking at alternative, stuff we've traditionally haven't done, you know, uh, part time, alternate schedules and some
Hmm.
of that stuff. They're considering just because we need bodies.
Hmm.
I mean, we just need and I have a sculptor that's retiring, a traditional sculptor that's retiring,
Oops.
and I'm probably not going to replace him because one, I don't know where I'd find, but he wasn't super busy, but he was busy.
Hmm.
And I have two traditional sculptors, and I think one of them can handle everything, but she makes all my molds too.
Mm.
So it's like
You need to free
I
her,
need
her
a
free
I
to
need
free her
a
up.
person.
Hmm.
Yes, and so I'm looking, and I had somebody that was interested, sort of, but then I heard, and this is going to kind of be a long
A
story, but
groovy,
it
semi-interesting
was
job will just fill up overnight. You don't have to worry about trying hard to fill that job up. That's a
yeah, I don't know. I
semi-interesting,
mean,
unless
people.
it just pays zero. Oops, I just spit all over my iPad. Okay, go ahead.
You
The
got the
word,
COVID
yeah, the word paid, apparently something I
paid.
react
You
violently
choked
to.
over that.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the bottom line is on what it would pay, but it would pay decent. I mean, I don't think you get rich off of it. I'm not getting
No.
rich up there, and I'd be your boss, but
Yeah.
no, it would be good. It would be much better than a fast food job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it'd be better. I mean, anytime you have to work retail and work with the general public, yeah, you. That's the other reason that you're going to fill it real quick. It's like, you mean I don't have to say hello to idiots on a
Yeah, you don't have to wear a
hourly
paper
basis,
cap.
on a minute by minute basis? Yeah.
No, I
All
mean
right,
it.
I'm on it.
Well, I've looked for I've reached out like on social media, to like, hey, any of my artist friends, I'm looking for a sculptor, and literally people have been like, well, people have told me,
Well,
well, I'd rather keep my job at this coffee shop and
yeesh.
make my art on the side, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. No, I'm just practically halfway stepping off for it, but I'm not because, like I told you, the only thing I've got left is what little time I've got left, and to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to spend even 20 hours a week. I don't know what do you got visualized for the amount of hours a week for something like that?
I
17
I,
hours,
I haven't I,
12
I
hours.
haven't got sometime somewhere between, well, one of my mold maker, I have a part-time mold maker who's retired, and he works 2 days a week.
Uh huh.
So, that's less than 20 hours,
Yeah.
So it would
Hmm.
kind of be, maybe I should take the job and just go down to 20 hours a week.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll square that one up with somebody that I live with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
20 hours a week is about the right kind of job a guy ought to have if he
says the
could
guy
live
that
on it.
gets a check
Yeah.
a check from the government.
Yeah.
Yes. Eh, well, it goes back to what we said. It's all about living within your means.
Hmm.
Well, and see, that's the problem is when I've reached out to people before. I'd spoken to somebody around Thanksgiving about a job, but I told them that thing. It was just when my company was having issues with the hackers, and I said, this is kind of a bad time. I said, call me back at the beginning
Hmm.
of the year. And then I heard the grapevine. She said, well, I don't think he was interested in hiring me.
Hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I was pretty clear that, this wasn't
Get
really,
back with me.
yeah, get back with me. But I actually reached out to her. I was like, hey, I don't know if you're interested, but, if you're interested, let me know. And you can come up there and look around, and I can introduce you to some people and my boss, and we can talk and see, but
Yeah,
I don't
that's the
know.
deal. They were interviewing at that tire shop when I was there, and
Oh
of
yeah.
course the tire shop. And this is fun. Would I be required to give a urine test?
At my work?
Uh huh.
Yes. Would you pass
That's
the
what I
urine test?
thought. See, everybody's got these. You know, that is so funny. They've got all this stuff where the left has penetrated our culture so much that you'd think that, okay, everybody agrees, everybody does recreational drugs. No, we don't agree on that when we're hiring.
Yeah. No, we
So
don't.
we're not going to have any
Yeah.
meth and
No
coke.
stoners.
Yeah, no stoners. Thank you anyway. Come again.
Yeah, it is kind of a there. Oh, I've said for years, our country, our society has the most double standards when it comes to marijuana or drugs.
Yeah.
Drugs are funny until somebody's an addict in
Oh
in our
yeah.
society.
Oh,
You know.
addiction. What that does to the people around the addict is the only thing that really counts. The addict is being a greedy dick, and
Yes.
but at the same time, I mean, it doesn't hurt you to feel sorry for them, but
Oh, no, no,
the
no.
damage being done is by the by who they're around. It's like,
Sure.
please quit passing out and causing me to call the ambulance and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It,
I
addiction
did you
is
see
a
that thing about they're thinking Bob Saget, or I saw one thing. Everybody's going to contribute about this Saget thing about what did kill him, but they think he hit his head on the headboard. Which have you ever have you ever been in a motel and you just threw yourself onto your bed like, I don't care if I damage anything? Basically, that kind of attitude.
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of a kind of a. I've been on the road for 48 hours. I'm hitting the hay. That
Whoopee,
kind of
and
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Whoopee, I'm hitting
Oh,
the
so they
hay.
think.
So yeah, you throw yourself into bed violently, and you hit a headboard that's screwed on because
Oh,
people
they're hard. If you've ever.
like to pull stuff around and all that, and they don't want you to.
Oh yeah, the
And it's just as hard
headboards.
as a rock.
Yeah, you could absolutely. Oh, I'd heard he hit his head and then went to sleep. They thought he had a brain bleed or
Yeah, that.
something.
Oh
Was
yeah,
it a
that's what
brain
they've
bleed?
apparently have all agreed. He died from the hemorrhage in his brain. Yeah, but
Didn't
they haven't
realize he
decided
was in.
how do you do that. Everybody's acting
I
like
didn't
the mafia came in and
sapped him.
yeah, started
So
teaching
I've
him a lesson.
watched. Yeah, I've watched. Speaking of Mafia, I've watched all. I have HBO Max now, and I've watched all of the Larry David show.
Hmm.
And it's just like, oh, I don't know. And Dave says that's his favorite show, and I'm like, dude, I cannot take these people. I
It's
mean, the guy.
it's that Seinfeld reaction. It's like, you do realize these people have no empathy or care about anybody but themselves.
Well, and
And,
Dave thinks so Dave goes, well, I think it would be great to be rich and just go around and get into these kind of antics all the time.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then I point out like some of the stuff he does, and I go, you would never do this. You would never do this. And I mean, like he took in a family homeless from a hurricane.
Mhm.
The liberal stuff that Larry David. Then Dave is like, nope, I'm not doing this. But I watched it. I'm glad I watched it. I will never, ever, ever watch it again. If they do another season, I may watch it, but I will not go back. I am considering going back and watching The Sopranos, though.
Yeah, yeah. That probably would be well anything that's really written well. If you were wanting to do some writing. Oh, by the way, that Michael Imperial. How do you pronounce his name? The guy who played Christopher.
Oh
Mike.
yeah, I don't know his
He
name, but
Michael Imperialone, or I think, or something like that. Uh, but he's a writer. He's got this interesting book that I'm going to eventually track down and get some way or other, hopefully the library. He's got book called "The Perfumes Stung My Eyes," and
What?
yeah, and it's about this kid, 15, 16-year-old kid that just randomly in his area of, I forget where, it's the area where this Michael grew up at, he encounters and becomes a good friend of Lou Reed, and they
Oh,
become,
really?
yeah, but Lou Reed, when he's full on in the Andy Warhol's whole
Gotcha.
scene there. And
Yeah.
so it's like a creative venture on his part to imagine what it would have been like to have palled around with Lou during that period. And
Really?
that sounds pretty interesting. And the reviews seem to indicate, yeah, this guy can write.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Interesting.
What do they call it? The Factory. The Factory. Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I sent you guys a link. It was called what was their cute name for Warhol? It was two guys that supposedly actually still hate each other to the day, and were getting together to do a concert together to basically talk about their love hate for Andy. And it was
Oh,
called
really?
Letters to Drella. Yeah, it's a what do you call it? A contraction of Dracula and Cinderella. That was their pet name for Andy Warhol, and
Oh, jeez.
that was a groovy little concert, man. They sang some really cool storytelling songs. I've always kind of liked John Cale and
Huh.
Lou Reed.
I heard something interesting. I listened to a podcast that's like Disney World history,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about. Do you remember when that song was popular? That hot, hot, hot.
Yeah.
I don't know what the name. I mean, the name is hot, hot, hot. The guy that I mean, it's an older song, so he didn't write it. But the guy that wrote it to popularity in the '90s was a member of the New York Dolls. It's like what?
Huh. Yeah. David Johansen.
Crazy.
David Johansen. Yeah.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, he
I saw
because he was some kind of
leftover.
lounge singer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, crazy. I had no idea.
I can't find it on tour schedules. I'm so into artifact hunting lately. I'm going over
Oh
old
yeah.
movies. I'll talk about that a little bit. I don't know how much time we got. 37 minutes. We haven't been in it too long.
Oh no, we're good.
Uh, but back in the day, there was a place. What was it? It would be after the 70s, mid 70s, almost the 80s, probably just about to turn the 80s. There's a place called the Long Branch on Agnew and about southwest 29th, 19th in Oklahoma City that has undergone
I
many
remember the
changes.
name. I've never went there.
Well, it
I was too
probably was
young.
on the skids by the time you got old enough to be in a beer drinking establishment like that. But they used to have some pretty groovy live acts that come through it. And I saw Bo Diddley 2 nights in a row there. And I showed up one night for what was the leftovers of the Dolls. They weren't running around traveling as the Dolls, but you looked at the lineup and it's Thunders and Johansson. And
Oh really?
all they did was doll material. And it was like, wow, this is fantastic. Because I had a friend that was just crazy about the Dolls, so I was hearing them all the time. So it's like I had the same sort of enthusiasm for them. They got that one really great album. So
Oh yeah.
I saw basically what this scrappy little band that wasn't calling itself the Dolls, and I have looked and can't find the Johansson history that puts him in the Long Branch, and it drives me crazy. I want to know when that exactly was.
Oh, that
But
kind of stuff does drive me crazy.
yeah, it's like, but yeah, and it would have been around the same time as the Sex Pistols. Uh, doing their very limited America tour. I think they played 2 places, and you know where one of the places was?
One of us in Tulsa, wasn't
That's
it?
exactly right. On one of the worst ice storms in history, and I
Yeah,
knew freaks that went up there and saw it,
oh yeah.
and they described it as being just a waste of time. You know, because obviously you get there and you got the Sex Pistols not having a good time. You aren't going to see much of a show.
Yeah, they're not going to put on a show just for
Yeah, they are. They are going to say,
bringing the audience.
My wonderful Tulsa fans.
Yeah,
This is for
you'd
you.
be lucky if
Yeah.
you'd be lucky if they knew where they were at.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Stiff baiters and all that stuff.
Yeah. So when you went and saw the not the Sex
The dolls,
Pistols,
basically.
the dolls, where were you working? We've went over your personal work history.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Where was I working? I would have been.
Were you in college? Were you out of college?
I was out of college and sharing rent with a couple of guys that we smoked pot and drank Billy beer. That was our big recreation. So Billy beer places in the Carter administration.
Yep, that's the 70s.
Yeah.
And Billy beer is probably, well, I think that would have been early.
Oh yeah. He that was the deal. He worked on being an embarrassment to Jimmy very, very hard. He went after it. He says, there's money to be made as the president's brother.
Yeah, little did we realize what we would get with the president's son.
Yeah. I'll show you how to make some money, Billy.
Yeah, you want to make some money? Screw your beer sales.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some art sales.
Yeah. Use that. Well, I can't. I've had some luck with Procreate. I don't know what I'm doing now. Oh, well.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. I haven't been drawing at all is what's happened to me. I've atrophied. Oh,
what are you doing? What are you doing? Not drawing?
I don't know. I don't know why I'm not drawing. I was blaming it on the weather, but I guess that's kind of a cop-out.
What'd you do while you were sitting at Firestone for 4 hours?
That's the deal. I planned so poorly. For one thing, I was thinking by the time I walked around that 1.5 miles of that early wine and just toughed it out. I had my thermals on. It was fine. It was, in fact,
Sure.
It was kind of invigorating. But so I did that, and I thought, well, now my tires will be on because I'm thinking, you got your air hammer and all that. You stick those 2 tires that they supposedly have ready for me on.
What took so long?
They didn't have the tires. They claimed that look at this. About 3 hours deep into the wait or more, they said, look at this. These aren't even the kind of tires we want. They are trailer tires. It's like, what? I had an appointment. I never got mad about it because I knew that there's nothing that anybody's going to do just because I get mad. So I just listened to it and took it, and there was nothing to be done about it.
I bought four tires not long ago, and I was in and out within 30 minutes. Now they knew I was coming.
Yeah, well, they knew I was coming too, supposedly.
And they knew I was coming, and they but I'll tell you this: they stripped my lug nuts on 2 of my wheels. So.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch those guys when they got a power tool on
air
their
wrench.
hands.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, I'm gonna go grab something. I'll be back in I want to show you a drawing that I did when I went downtown last week. But
okay, cool.
It's in my other sketch. It's right in here.
I'll put you on big screen. And while Scott's gone,
I'm not gone.
He's not gone for long.
I literally went into the room. It was in the office.
Okay.
This is in my traveling sketchbook.
Okay, let's see this. I'll get you big here. Solo layout. There you are.
Oh, sorry about that. So I went downtown without you last week.
Mm-hmm.
Because the weather was nice. And so this is my traveling sketchbook. This is a moleskin. Moleskin makes a moleskin that has extra pages. So I picked up one of these.
Cool. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's a.
Oh, you'll see it here. I'll flip that real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is when I went to New Orleans last year. I brought this sketchbook. This is at the airport on the plane. And then just in New Orleans, I did various drawings. And then that's the trip that from there, that's more airport stuff. I like this. I thought this came out pretty good. It's on Canal Street in New Orleans. Let's see. Went to Yellowstone. This is at Yellowstone. This is Old Faithful. We're waiting for Old Faithful.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you had a big road trip.
Yeah, well, when I flew, but yeah. On the plane again. In an airport. Bozeman. Oh, barbecue place. I did some color in here. Oh, here. This isn't from the last week, but this is Leadership Square in downtown Oklahoma City.
Oh, cool, man! You get into such depth on. I like that little cat I saw. Yeah, look at that, the creature.
Oh, see my cat?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of messing around on cartoon animals. The creature. I get in such depth to doing what? That's waiting to get the oil change in my Subaru. That's at the Subaru dealer. Let's see. Oh, that's at the Cabo Hall of Fame. That's the town. Yeah. More Cabo Hall of Fame drawings. Oh, I like this. I thought that the Iron Man came out pretty good. That drawing kind of inspired what I'm doing now with in this thing, where it's the idea of I draw characters like fighting, draw kind of fight scenes. I like that head. I thought that head came out pretty good.
I had a whole bunch of stuff I had in a group, and I deleted it. I could undo that, but I think I'll just leave them out. It was going so badly.
So my comic book, I did a mixtape. I mean, I'm not making. We're gonna do a track list to listen to of 70s music. So here, okay. So this is what I want to show you.
Okay.
I thought this came out so good.
Yeah.
This is downtown Leadership Square, man.
Well, you know what I like about it? It's like I always was wanting you to get a little better at vignette. And that's got a lot of good vignette. What you're leaving out, what you're putting in, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, that's what I drew last Friday.
Cool. Before
I found out I had the COVID.
Oh boy.
When I was downtown.
That's cool. I mean, you sat there and nobody bothered you, huh?
No,
that's the deal. I get the feeling that it's like they want you to move along or something.
Yeah, screw those guys.
That Leadership Square thing.
What? Here's the difference between you and me. You worry about what other people think too much like that. I don't care. I'm like,
well, that's true.
This is not posted. No loitering. I'm loitering.
Yeah. Well, it sounded like you lost your mic or something.
I lost one of my headphones. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I lost one of my earbuds. I mean, my thing is always, here's my theory. I think this is where you and I differ. I'm like, I have this theory that like everybody that ever runs into me at one of these places is determined that I should be making art. So they will not do anything to stop me. If I tell them, oh, no, I'm an artist, it's okay, then I feel like they'll just be like, oh, okay, cool, keep going. I'm probably wrong, but whatever.
Well, I know one thing. I can tell it too. I'm just a little too self-satisfied with going around with basically old hippie level clothes in tatters. Basically, I need to make sure that my clothes look like somebody that isn't homeless, basically, if I want people to react differently to me. So
Well, yeah, I mean,
no,
maybe
that makes a difference. I mean, that's
it does. It does. People definitely judge you by.
mhm. And I just again that living in your
Yeah, well, yeah. What are
in
you
your
gonna do?
means, clothes are
Go to the
a big
mall and
deal. Yeah. I
yeah.
just don't
No, no,
buy
no.
clothes, but I could change out every now and then. I've got a lot of clothes sitting around the closet. I could be changing into better clothes, but I got my favorite clothes. So I go ahead and I wear
I don't
certain
wear nothing.
things just a little too long. You know.
Well, I
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
nice.
I think people pick up on attitudes and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I mean, again,
I don't much care about what people think about it. Well, obviously, I don't. Otherwise, I would have changed my gear some time back. But I do understand. You know, that self awareness. You have to have a little bit of it. That say, I understand why someone would react to me like that. That little bit of self awareness. You've got to have it. You got to understand that I am being an asshole. I gotta quit doing that.
oh, I just figure myself like I don't know. I just figure I can talk my way out of any trouble.
Hmm.
Generally, you know, kind of. And if you tell people like, oh, if people are like, well, what are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm an artist. Generally people will, and especially if you're like, oh, I'm an artist, and you show them like, well, look, here's what I've done. Then I think people will generally be like, oh, okay, well,
Hmm.
I went downtown one time. You weren't with me, and you know that there's that parking garage that we always go down in the tunnel in there
Hmm.
by the memorial, the
Hmm.
bombing memorial. And I went in there and I told the guy, I go, look, I said, I have a weird request. This was not long ago. It was during COVID.
Hmm.
I said, I got kind of a weird request. I said, I really like this parking booth. Is it okay if I draw in the parking garage? I said, I'm an artist. I said, it's just, for my sketchbook, but I just think this is just interesting, some of the bricks and shapes and stuff. And the guy
Hmm.
was really tickled, like, oh, guy's super cool.
Hmm.
I stood outside and I
Just
drew the
wanted to
little,
do some pattern studies. Yeah.
yeah, I just thought I like drawing cool stuff, and I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know, I have an appreciation for just kind of that unusual architecture.
Hmm.
Doesn't have to be
Well,
like a
I love
Frank Lloyd
architecture
Wright
too.
building,
Yeah.
just something that's, kind of, I don't know. To me, there's something, and I think it goes back to that documentary. There's something noble about sitting in a parking attendant booth for hours and taking people's money.
Yeah. Uh, that always struck me as the kind of skill level I always thought that'd be a great job to have if you were a writer or an artist that was able to get away with it. If you had a constant kind of like get up, get around, do this or that extra task, then yeah, it wouldn't be all that great. But if you were just basically kind of idle and
Yeah,
just there to keep things from getting damaged or something, that'd be a
yeah.
great job.
Hey, by the way, I'm done with my drawing.
Oh, excellent.
The the
You might sell that one too. It's too
I
bad we don't
might
have a bigger audience. You could sell one every time you did one. Oh, look at this. Natasha International just popped her head in. It
nice.
says, just Cobra Kai yourself out of a situation. That's right. Well, I
Exactly.
tell you
Yeah,
what,
no doubt,
I've got
man.
a wicked Kung Lee sidekick. You don't want to mess with me. And it might just come out as I get older, almost like a Tourette syndrome. It might just be like, I should kick this guy.
It does it. Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, if you get to a certain age,
Mm-hmm.
and and you just like beat the living crap out of somebody's hassling you, and
Yeah.
they're half your age, what are they going to do? I
Yeah, that's
mean,
right. Yeah, it'll
even if
embarrass
I
them.
mean, it's
It'll
like
embarrass them. They won't be able to say anything
exactly.
about it.
Well, I mean, okay, neither one of us served in the military, but you always hear these stories about, like 70-year-old vet beats the
Yeah, sure.
crap out of mugger, and everybody's like, "Oh, you go, Marine, you," you
Hmm. Yeah,
know.
everybody loves those stories. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
I gotta check out that Cobra Kai stuff. But the deal is, you know why I'm never probably gonna check out that Cobra Kai stuff?
because you don't like the Karate Kid movie.
Yes, that's it. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's not.
saw
You're
that
not.
Karate Kid movie and I said, "What is this?" I hate it. And it's like, and it became
Don't
like a certain generations. It was
don't watch it.
their
Don't watch
sweets,
it.
their sweet spot, and they loved that movie.
Don't watch it. You won't like Cobra Kai
Okay.
because the whole thing depends on you liking the dynamic and you. I think you'll just. I mean, you can watch it if you want to. I think the first couple episodes of the series are good. It went on. I watched the first season and I was like, okay, that's enough. I like the idea
Uh huh.
that the kid
They
that
had a
was the
universe they were
bully,
returning to. Yeah.
right, and the kid that was the bully is now, he's fallen on hard times, and he's your typical, washed up loser, divorcee, peaked in high school kind of
Uh
guy,
huh.
and he's trying to redeem himself.
Well, that's a
Meanwhile,
great writer's challenge, isn't it? That is. I like
the
that
setup is
idea, and I've
that's
heard that idea. You know that it does have something like that going for it as a writer.
oh,
Be that interesting.
the setup is great. I love the beginning, but in my mind, it just falls on its face about a little ways through there because they bring in too much stuff. It would have been a great 2-hour movie or a short thing where this guy and he's trying to redeem himself maybe and but it's just a constant. Oh, now his
Now he's got to do
son is
this.
working
Yeah.
for the other guy
Hmm.
and it's and it's they kind of it channels
Well,
a
it's
lot.
it's like what I told you. If they don't have a conflict that they're introducing on a constant basis, your eyes glaze over.
Well, that's what I said. It's too long. They bring
Yeah.
in too much conflict. It
Yeah.
and they do a good job. They do a good job of making it. They kind of channel Better Call Saul, the season where he had trouble with his brother,
Oh yeah.
but then you're sympathetic to the brother, and you don't know who the good guy is or who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
play off of that quite a bit,
Yeah.
you
Saul
know.
Goodman is a jerk. Jimmy is a jerk. I mean, he
Yeah,
and but he's got the perfect girlfriend to be a jerk with because she digs some of what he gets up to.
yeah, oh yeah,
I'm looking
yeah.
forward to finishing that season show off. It's in its final thing, and I guess they've shot all of them, so it's like
A
no,
friend of
no.
mine on Facebook, it was in it,
Oh,
and
really?
it's wrapped. Yeah, it's
Right.
wrapped.
Well, it
Uh,
ought, it ought to
if
be. They went about 2 years between seasons. Good
Yeah,
Lord.
they're lucky that nobody important died.
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised Mike made it. He looked awful
Yeah,
starting, and which is when you think about it, because you look at Breaking Bad and he looks totally healthier and younger and everything
right.
else. It's like, wait a second, this is a prequel. How can Mike look like
Yeah, how does
hell?
this work?
Yeah,
I like Better Call Saul. I like it better than Breaking Bad.
yeah, yeah.
100% better.
Well, yeah, he was a great little character.
The but
Oh, here,
I don't.
I better
If
look
they
up and
don't.
see what Natasha International's saying. Let's check in with her.
Oh,
They're
yeah, I don't
bringing
have
in
my
old
iPad.
villains from different movies. Plus, the old villain in the second movie is now teaming up with Daniel. Oh, cool. So it's Daniel. I watched Saul for Mike. Okay, Mike. Oh yeah, yeah, tough guy Mike. Yeah, the old guy.
So here's what I want in my if they don't wrap this up because again and God I forgot the name. What was Saul's name when he was selling when he was at the cookie place or whatever
Oh,
or
I
the where did he
forget. Yeah,
work?
what's
I
that?
can't even think of where did he work? What was the place he worked at the mall in
It was
Omaha?
some honey bun kind of place.
Oh no, Cinnabon, Cinnabon.
Cinnabon, yeah.
If they don't resolve that
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
going to pay
be.
off, doesn't it? He thought people were
Yes.
after him in a big way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That if
He
they don't pay
supposedly
that off,
his life is hanging by thread after they went to all that trouble, got Robert Forster to get him out of trouble,
well,
relocate him.
Yep.
I think he got Robert Forster to do that.
That was the guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
The
so.
guy from Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown.
Great movie.
Oh yeah, he's so good in that. And when you think about it, it's like, what is he doing in it? Not much. He's just a nice stoic face,
Exactly. He's
but you can see
bondsman,
it's
man.
all in his eyes. I mean, and Tarantino is in there tight on him. And I think there's probably nothing that bugs it, that most actors can't pull off. Probably it shows who's who as an actors when you get in tight on them.
Oh yeah.
If
Eastwood
you,
had it.
yeah, yeah,
Has it, I should say.
yeah, still has it, huh?
Still has it.
Pretty amazing.
No doubt.
Let's talk about how amazing Clint Eastwood is. That's unanimous, I think, on that one. Everybody likes him.
Absolutely. The what was the guy's name? Gene. Is it Gene? Yeah, Gene. If Gene doesn't pay off. Again, though, it's the Cinnabon. It's the job that you just exist through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, come on. Yeah, I guess if you are pretty sure your next step will be dying because someone has got it in for you.
Yeah,
But I'm not sure that. Well, and it is a Breaking Bad somebody that's got it in for him, right? I mean,
yes.
and I forget who it
I
is.
guess. See, I don't know. Was Saul Goodman really in that much danger? I don't know.
Well, that's the deal. He really had to clear out for reasons, maybe just because he was on the Walter White side for as long as he was. I don't know. Maybe that's all
Yeah,
it takes.
maybe. I don't know.
Me neither. I watched Saul for Mike. Yeah, Mike was always good. That the whole big thing where he finally had to kill the brewmeister out in the woods, a brewmeister that just couldn't stand to be away from family. That was,
No, yeah. Yep.
and he didn't know he wasn't being a brewmeister. He didn't know he was making tanks for meth.
No doubt.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? We can get into a show where everybody agrees they wish the plague of addiction wasn't
Well,
in this country, and yet we watch something that can't help but glamorize everyone involved in it.
everyone who preys on it.
But the deal is, what bugs me about the show is that none of those people that are showing you thriving, that are even using it casually, all the buddies of that guy that was Walter White's assistant, I forget his name.
Oh yeah,
His little buddies, all those guys were supposedly meth users. Forget it; they'd be useless for anything,
Yeah.
But you gotta act like they can function, I guess. Hey, we've been at it an hour and 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you want to share some more stuff or not?
No,
that's pretty. That drawing came out cool. You may sell that one too. Someone may get a hold of it.
Well, what's funny about
what? She's going to do a judo move. She's going to do. I see the grab, crossbody grab there, and all she's got to do is violently get her hip into that guy's middle, and she's got that.
Yeah. Well, this character's.
That one guy's pretty gaunt. Natasha International says they don't have gaunt faces or look like toothless skeletons. That one guy is pretty skinny. But I forget his name. But that one guy's huge. Yeah. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, I was gonna say this guy is called the Gray Gargoyle, and he can turn anyone he touches into stone.
Ah.
So that's the crossbody grab.
keep that touch away. Yeah. Or it could
Exactly.
become a keto grab. She could take it out of the
Yeah.
hand, hit him on the elbow, and drive his face into the ground. See, I've got it all the mechanics worked out in my brain.
There you go. All you need is to go hang out downtown and get the chance to.
Yeah. Get somebody
Anyway.
that deserves it. Okay.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's it, man.
I didn't produce a drawing again. It always hurts my feelings when I don't have anything to put on Tumblr. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm ending.